I understand the desire to have autonomy and control over their system, but I would ask at what cost?
Leaders with Spokane's regional emergency communications pushing for answers tonight from the city. They say there are risks of delays and potential failures in fire response. Authorities in Pullman are investigating a fire at an apartment building that's suspected to be arson. What we know tonight.
One more cold morning, then we're talking the return of summertime heat to much of the inland Northwest.
Good evening and thank you for joining us for KREM 2 News at 5 tonight. I'm Mark Hanrahan. Leaders with Spokane's Regional Emergency Communications, or SHREC, are pushing for answers from the City of Spokane. They say without some collaboration, there are risks of delays and potential failures in fire response. In our effort to bring you more to every story, KREM 2's Shannon Mowdy looks into this complex story.
Months after the City of Spokane started to work toward its own emergency dispatch, independent from SHREC, some realities are apparently just now becoming clear.
I was fearful for the first time in this process.
During a September 22nd meeting, Fire Chief Julio Berg briefed council on expected delays in fire response with a changeover in SHREC's computer-aided dispatch.
It will literally have to be a dispatcher calling and saying, do you have an engine or a truck or a battalion chief available?
Right now, the city and SHREC use Automatic Aid. A computer system dispatches the closest firefighting resources to an emergency. But by spring, when SHREC launches a new CAD program called Hexagon, city units won't be in the system.
This is what Hexagon will see on on March 27th when Hexagon goes live.
Emergency calls will still go to SHREC, but must be manually transferred to the city's secondary answering point. Chief Julio Berg told council SFD was intentionally deleted from the system.
When they went to do the new architecture, they pulled everyone out, so they technically deleted the city as well, but not out of spite.
SHREC Board Chair Cody Rohrbach says in order to remove naming duplications in Hexagon, fire apparatus named the same thing, techs started from scratch. Except Spokane Fire wasn't added back into the system because in July, the city said it was using its own CAD. A consultant report also shows the city faces a nearly $100 million cost to start its own primary dispatch. Part of that will be setting up that independent CAD system, which Rohrbach says will cost the city about $5.5 million, double what it would have paid to stay on SHREC's system.
And we need to find a way to do this collaboratively, because without a solution that works for everyone, there's going to be very real consequences to some of the decisions that have been made.
Rohrbach says there is still time for Spokane to join the regional computer system, but SHREC needs answers soon. Board leaders were set to discuss all of this with council Monday, but in an email shared with KREM 2, Public Safety Chair Zach Sapone moved the conversation to November. Council President Betsy Wilkerson sent a statement saying the city remains committed to reaching an accountable resolution, and the safety of Spokane residents remains top priority. Shannon Mowdy, KREM 2 News.
All right, let's talk weather on this Monday night with Chief Meteorologist Jeremy Legout joining us in the Outdoor Weather Center. Jeremy, a chilly start to the day, but things certainly warmed up nicely.
Mark, it's just about perfect out here in the back patio, but that's about it for the sunshine I get to see for the remainder of the evening, because by the 6 o'clock hour, it has already dipped below some of the houses just out to my west. 63 is where we sit. 63 is perfect if you're in a suit. This one's cotton, maybe polyester. Either way, it's not wool. The wool suit is when it gets warm. Temperatures in the mid to low 60s right now across eastern Washington and North Idaho. That's all thanks to a ridge of high pressure. Because of that, we're not really going to get much movement in the atmosphere. That means cold nights and warm afternoons, but it also means some air quality concerns if you're close to some of the wildfires that are still burning. Remember, we're just not getting the rain we typically do, so those wildfires are still going. Tonight, we're going to fall back into the low 40s or upper 30s, maybe even mid 30s in places like Deer Park and Newport. By tomorrow afternoon, we are in the 70s under sunny skies, so that warmth is back in the forecast.
Sounds good. Jeremy will check back in with you later in the show. Well, tonight, several people will not be sleeping in their Pullman home. A suspected explosion destroyed an apartment overnight. KREM 2's Amanda Rowley is in Pullman with new information about the suspect.
This apartment fire rocked Pullman, forcing dozens out of their home. Pullman investigators believe the fire started in an apartment unit on the second floor. Tonight, the man accused of setting this fire is in custody. In the aftermath of Sunday's fire,
those are milk snakes.
Residents return to save what they can. For Calvin McDonald, it's his living collection of reptiles.
A lot of them are probably sick from the chill.
Just too cold. I'm sorry to hear that.
It's fine. They're not dead.
Pullman police believe Elijah Reagan may have intentionally caused an explosion in his unit Sunday night at this Military Hill apartment. No one was hurt, but the Spokane County Bomb Squad responded as a precaution. Later that night, police say Reagan led multiple agencies on a high-speed chase. He later surrendered north of Lewiston. Police booked him at Nez Perce County Jail, where he faces arson and attempt to elude charges. Pullman police say the suspect is known to law enforcement, with one arrest last year for DUI. Pullman's police chief says they've also received complaints in the past about Reagan at this very apartment, but didn't say the reason. In a message to the community, Chief Aaron Brashear says none of the incidents are related or established a trend. Pullman investigators are still determining what exactly was the cause of this fire. We'll keep you posted as we learn more. Reporting in Pullman, Amanda Rowley, KREM 2 News.
Spokane police say they've arrested a man they say set another person on fire near the Brown Street Viaduct last month. Police say Dupree Meadows used an improvised flamethrower to light David Karn on fire. Karn had to be flown to Harborview Medical Center in Seattle for treatment. Police saying he had burns on 2/3 of his body. Karn telling police he knew his alleged attacker for a decade. Police were able to arrest Meadows after they saw him walking downtown just days later. Meadows faced a judge less than 2 hours ago, and he faces first-degree arson and first-degree assault charges. No word yet on why the attack happened. New at 5 tonight, a murder case with a missing body wrapped up today in Bonner County. Jordan Law was sentenced to 15 years in prison for second-degree murder. The case involved a woman who disappeared and her body was never found. Ray Allison Burwanger was last seen in March of 2019. Law was arrested 5 years later in 2024. We have a lot more news still ahead at 5 tonight. We are watching the government shutdown in Washington stretch into week 2. Find out what happened when lawmakers met to vote this afternoon. And big news for Spokane soccer fans. Find out what the team just announced this morning.